Welcome back to the eSports Report. Chris Puckett and Revan in the booth today. It's a lovely day here in New York City. Yesterday sucked.
Yeah, yesterday it was kind of cold outside, but today the sun is shining. It's really warm. I'm wearing some shorts. I haven't worn shorts in a while, so it feels great.
I'm wearing Jordans underneath this desk. Oh, not lying. I'll give you a little preview. See that? Yeah, it's Gene. Shorts. All right, anyway, Revan, we're talking about Team Kaliber. And TK, they started off really hot, didn't place outside of the top 4. Then the Call of Duty Championships hit, and they started to struggle. They made some moves immediately, with Formal and Theory announcing after COD Champs they didn't want to play with the team anymore. So what was the move that Team Kaliber made? It was really just Sharp and Goonjar still on that squad.
Well, they immediately went after Neslo, and Neslo, we talked about him a little bit before. He's had so much success already with Team Kaliber, so it only made sense that he came back home. And then they were looking around, searching for Force, and then wound up that this guy, Apathy, was a free agent. And when Apathy's a free agent, you got to go get him.
And Apathy, of course, part of that strictly business squad that won the U.S. regionals. They finished in the top 4 as well at COD Champs. But we'll talk more about him in a bit. Before we get to Apathy, we got to show you what Mad Cat did on this squad. They went after Mad Cat as the fill-in for Apathy while he was on vacation for UGC Niagara. And our next game is against FaZe Black, who is also playing with the fill-in. They had Saint filling in for Saints for this tournament. It's domination. Let's take a look at some of the action. I don't even know the map. It's going to be Freight. Here it is.
There is going to be one guy coming from the right, and he didn't see him in the smoke. Will he see that there's the guy coming around here, and that guy's just dead. He did not make it far.
And I mean, they're doing a great job of force spawning them in that back right lumber, and it's really going to force the FaZe line to just play straight out of that red building, and it's extremely impossible to break out of there, because if you're FaZe right now, you got to run an extra AR, you got to go up in that building.
Hell.
But, you know, you can't really fight out of that position and be aggressive, because you need an AR to fight out of that red 3 area.
Yeah, and look at this here. They're actually going to be going on C, and there's one. Mad Cat almost able to get the 2-piece, and now Goonjar all the way back to his base. Sharp holding down the mid-map, takes out Sensor with relative ease, and has another player here, and he's going to clean up Saint. And Sharp, as we were talking about before, you know, he's really good on the Xbox 360.
Oh yeah, you know, Sharp, he struggled a little bit on the Xbox One at Champs. I mean, you saw it when we were doing the pre-LAN. He was struggling a little bit, and you know, 360 is really where he feels most comfortable. I mean, you see him playing. I mean, I haven't seen him shoot this well since, you know, the last event on 360, to be honest.
Yeah, Philly.
Yeah, Philly.
Probably Philly. And, you know, that's probably one of the main reasons why they do well in 2K as well.
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
that's a very good point.
I think once TK starts getting used to, you know, the Xbox One, he's gonna be just as good. But
yeah,
you know, they haven't really had too much time on it. No. And here comes Goonjar. They are just kind of piling into red. This is the 3rd team I've seen who's using old optic strategies of 3 guys going into red and then trying to break out into crates. It's not working.
It works, but it needs to be done extremely. It's very precision time, guys. You know, you need an AR to get in that red 3 area, and you need to push out that side door pretty much at the same time, because if you don't get that really good initial first push, it's going to be one person at a time flooding out that red door, and it's never going to work.
Yep, Neslo spots one here. There is going to be another guy as they hit 100 points here. Sharp and Goon going to be pushing mid-map here as they are going to be able to secure B with the final seconds ticking down. And just like that, they just devoured FaZe on side 1. They need to get one of the flags, though, here. So at least FaZe is doing that right. They're able to hold this down. They have both A and C, so it's not the worst scenario, but they really need to get B here. But TK, they got to get a pep in their step, and just like that, we're going to go ahead and switch on over to Formal here. As they are going to be losing C. He hears the call. There's going to be 2 guys mid-map. Will he be able to get any of them?
Yeah, you know, Formal's going to have to go big right here if they're going to make this comeback. I believe the final score of the last one was 101 to 62. So 39-point victory for TK in that first half. So, you know, FaZe is really going to have to start making this time up real soon. They got a 2-cap, Scott.
They do. And here we go. Dito spots this guy, trying to wallbang him here. No sale. His teammate's going to be pushing from the far right here. This is going to be Formal and fake Saint, a.k.a. Saint. We're going to jump over here, and this is going to be Saint again. Will he be able to spot one? Spots one. Will he get the 2-piece? Yes, he does. There's one more guy coming on the far left, and he's going to be cleaned up, jumping on board with Sensor as he just gets obliterated, and we're just going to go ahead and head over to Mad Cat.
Yeah, and Amy Mack had a 15-7 right now, just dominating the kill feed. And, you know, Saint is actually an interesting story. He was on Vex, right? Yep. They qualified for the MLG League. They dropped him and then drafted him as a sub.
Yep, I didn't get that either.
Nah, there has to be some kind of story there, but I mean, he's definitely more than a serviceable player. I mean, he played at US Regionals as well, so I mean, it's not like they got a sub who isn't just up to par. I mean, they got somebody who's capable of, still making a good run in the tournament.
Goonjar wisely sitting right behind this little
train
wheel. I guess it's a wheel or a spoke. It's definitely not a spoke.
No, it's not a spoke. It's a wheel.
I don't know if it's a wheel. Whatever. Anyways, Nezo has one. Will he get two? He's going to be taken down. Goonjar now has to trek all the way back here. And what was that lead differential? 41?
No, 39.
39. So this one's basically all but over unless this recap comes in like right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can basically say this one's all over. I mean,
oh, look at Mad Cat.
Yeah,
Mad Cat sitting back here having some tea and crumpets.
That's right. He's having fun at this event. I saw him in the lobby of the hotel, and I was like, how are you feeling coming in? And he was extremely excited to be here. I mean, to get this opportunity, I mean, TK is given the opportunity to come out here and sub and just show how good he is as a player. I mean, I think that's awesome just for Matt Cat and for the organization.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And for you, Call of Duty, as well.
Yeah, and I think it just also goes to show you how, like, Chaos Silence is just kind of like, what my guys want, I'm going to do. If they want an EU guy, I'm going to support him because that's what you're supposed to do. And, he's definitely one of the better organization owners in the scene. I think he takes care of his players very, very well. Him and Big Snacks, yeah, I would say are very underrated.
Right. If I were to ever play again, calling him Rick.
Calling Rick?
Yeah, Rick's the man.
Hey, excuse me, Big Snacks. I have a big proposition for you. Me, Mr. X.
Yeah.
Taking a look here, Mad Cat 19 and 14 on the other side. Formal 16 and 12, Sensor 15 and 14.
Yeah.
All right, so when you add a powerful assault rifle player like Mad Cat, it seemed that they had great success, at least in game one. What did you see there when they had Mad Cat on the roster versus when they had Formal on the team?
Well, I don't really think it was necessarily Mad Cat that was the key to their success in that match. I feel like the submachine guns were being very aggressive, and what that does is it takes a lot of pressure off Mad Cat. So what Mad Cat was able to do was position himself exactly where he wanted to be. You saw him up in the power positions near top red. You saw him just finding easy kills because he was able to get the aerial view all over the map, and that's because of the submachine gun. So I just feel like overall TK was being more aggressive. I felt like that they were trying to overcompensate because they had to fill in fourth, so they were just trying to make things happen.
Now, they went on to lose that match. They actually lost the next 3 games. We're not going to show you any of that, but I wanted to kind of ask you, is this a tendency of Team Kaliber to come out hot and then slow down, or is this just one example of where they played well in a domination?
Yeah, that's definitely their tendency. I mean, in the games that I've watched, they usually come out strong in the dominations. They usually lose the search and destroys and the blitz. So, I mean, I'm not too sure what happens when it goes into later in the match, but, as we saw earlier with the clip from the Call of Duty Championships, they just fall apart.
Well, they went on and lost to Optic Nation. They finished in the top 8. However, it wasn't the placement they wanted, tying for 7th, 8th there at UGC Niagara. But now they have their full lineup. Apathy is back from vacation. They've been studying. They've been playing. They've been grinding. And I wanted to ask you one question. The switch from 360 to Xbox One, that's kind of where we see the disparity in their placings. Gandhi brought up a good point there in his last commentary. Do you think that has any effect in their game, and what is really different from 360 to Xbox One?
I was actually thinking about that too when I heard Gandhi say the same thing. So the difference between 360 to Xbox One, a lot of it is with the smoke grenades. I feel like that has a lot to play into it. Obviously, they're a lot stronger in the Xbox One. I feel like the MTAR a little bit better on the Xbox One as well. I just think maybe the thumbsticks on the controller, I'm not too sure. I believe we're going to have Sharp on later in the show, so we could ask him because he's one of the main people that all the fans ask. Be like, hey, you play so well on the 360, but we don't see the same results on the Xbox One. So maybe we could ask Sharp what he thinks about it.
All right, we'll get a little bit deeper with Sharp later on in the show. As you mentioned, we're not only talking with Sharp, we're also talking with their 4th Apathy, formerly of Strictly Business. He'll be joining the show later on. Let's take a look at the roster now. Our captain, of course, it is Sharp. He's been on the team forever. What can you tell me about this guy?
Well, this guy's been playing Call of Duty forever, man. He's a Call of Duty 4 national champion. He's a Modern Warfare 2 national champion. Didn't perform as well in Black Ops 1 as he did in some of the earlier Call of Duties, but he picked it right back up in the next, and he's had some great placings in Black Ops 2 as well as Call of Duty Ghosts. You see some of his stats there, and, Search and Destroy seems to be one of, usually when you talk about Sharp, you're always praising him for Search and Destroy, but lately I feel like he's been slacking a little bit.
You think he's been slacking, and is there any reason that he's struggling with that, do you think?
I'm not too sure, because in Call of Duty 4, the map you remember him by is that overgrown search and destroy.
Yeah.
National championship, the map to win it, drops 10 kills, 0 deaths, and leads his team that he was on Extravagant at the time to win Nats.
So he goes from being a 2009 national champion. I know throughout the other Call of Duties, he had his ups and downs, was a big face on Fear for a while. Now, Team Kaliber, is this the longest team he's ever been on, or?
Yeah, this is definitely the longest team he's been on. So back in the day, Sharp used to be a little bit of a team hopper. 1 week he was on Fear, the next week he was on Envy, then back to Fear. He liked to jump around between those two teams, but it's nice that he's finally settled down with Team Kaliber.
Well, looking at these stats, what do you find most impressive about Sharp's game, and do the numbers tell it all?
The numbers definitely don't tell it all. You know, Sharp, he's a good in-game leader. He keeps everybody calm. He's a very funny guy as well. If you've ever spoken with him, I'm sure he's made you laugh. But take a look at his dom captures. That's what pops out to me. At the regionals, he had 4.43 dom caps. At COD Champs, 3.67, 3.52 in the Season 1. So that tells me that he's putting his body at risk. He's jumping on the flags. He's kind of using himself as bait. And then, you know, if he wins some gunfights, he caps some flags.
Pretty impressive overall KD there at COD Champs as well with a 1.04. Online has not had as much success. So Sharp, the captain, he's been around forever, as you said, since Call of Duty 4. Won a national championship with Extravagant. His teammates, though, we have Neslo, who kind of started making a name for himself in Black Ops 2. This guy was on the original TK lineup, got the boot, and was invited back a little bit later. Tell me Neslo's story.
Well, I actually used to team with Neslo back in the day on Prime Example at MLG Anaheim, and this guy's a student of the game. He's so dedicated, playing all day, and what people really know him for is Search and Destroy. Check out his regional stats. Search and Destroy, 1.32 kill-death ratio, and the Season 1 League, 1.06, and when I played with him, he loved playing Search and Destroy. It was his favorite game mode.
So Neslo was given the boot when Formal was added to the squad. He goes on to Justice. Justice didn't qualify for COD Champs. They fell short, losing to Rise Nation. But you can see this is what he did there. 21.5 kills a game, 3.4 dom caps, but really it's that S&D where he shined. In COD Season 1, overall KD of 1.04 with his squad. And you can see similar dom caps and, again, above a 1.0 KD in Search and Destroy. What is Neslo's greatest strength, though? Is it his assault rifle, SMG, sniper? I've seen him use multiple. It all depends on who he's playing with.
Yeah, I feel like his greatest strength is that he knows when to switch it up. So in Blitz, you'll see him play super aggressive when his team needs caps. But at times, you also see him play super defensive, especially on Octane. He's not afraid to pull out that assault rifle, just watch it across, do what needs to be done. He's just let his teammates run around the map. Okay, I'm going to sit here. Okay, I see one cross. He loves doing that.
Next, we got Goonjar. Goon, he had the opportunity to go over to Envy after some success with Team Kaliber. He took that chance and then was reunited with Sharp back on Team Kaliber shortly after. Tell me about Goonjar, because I first commentated this guy at Dallas Black Ops 2. He was really the true star on Donut Shop.
Yeah, Goonjar took advantage of an opportunity he was given. So in Black Ops 2, not many people actually wanted to play the anchor role. It was pretty boring. You didn't see much action, but you were very important if your team wanted to win the game. So Goonjar was like, hey, I'm going to switch over to the assault rifle role. I'm going to be an anchor, and he did a phenomenal job at being an anchor, but he started off as a submachine gun player. I met him back in Modern Warfare 3. He was one of the more aggressive players with the PP90. So that adds just a whole lot of stock to Goonjar as a player. He's able to be aggressive with the SMG. He's able to lock things down with the assault rifle, and he's one of the main AR players here for TK.
He kind of reminds me of Parasite's story and his background, starting from sub, going to an anchor, back to a sub when needed, now in Call of Duty Ghost. And you can see where he shined. It was at the Call of Duty Championships. Overall KD and his slaying power, 26 kills in those respawn games on average. U.S. Regionals, they finished third, where he had 24 kills on average with over 6 dom caps. Pretty ridiculous stat there. And in Season 1, because of the online play, you see 1.06 overall KD, pretty strong there. Had some nice blitz caps. His slaying power, not as strong, but his S&D was at its best. Since then, especially COD Champs, 0.45. What's going wrong with his S&D game? We saw in a game earlier, he only got 2 kills against Envy.
Yeah, so Gunjar, a very strong respawn player, but as you were saying, search and destroy, I'm not too sure what goes on. You know, sometimes when I play against Gunjar, he's super aggressive and he finds success there. Other times, he's just very passive and never leaves his base. So I feel like if he's able to find that middle ground, you know, a consistent style to play search and destroy, then he could be considered, you know, one of the better all-around players.
All right, so Gunjar, his weakness in my eyes, after looking at the stats, seems to be S&D. Talk to me, though, about their new fourth, Apathy.
This guy is a straight-up beast. He's the definition of a support player. You know, he fills in the gaps perfectly around the map. Plus, he has the ability to take over the game at any given moment. I remember seeing games, actually one recently against Evil Geniuses. He dropped 44 kills on Strike Zone Domination. How many players do you see do that?
44 bomb.
Yeah.
Good stuff there. You can see most impressively, look at those numbers. First place at US Regionals, fourth place at COD Champs, and second in COD League Season 1. All of that was with Strictly Business, who is now FaZe Black. Apathy, the lone fourth. He moved over to TK as FaZe Black was created with Formal on the lineup, and this guy, he can do it all, especially the objective. If you look at his US Regionals performance, 5 Blitz caps, 4.5 Dom caps, his slaying was over 22 kills, and he had a positive S&D KD. So he was really a big thorn in complexity side at that tournament, and in his online league, not as good of stats, but Apathy showed, I think, in Full Sail at that U.S. Championships that anytime he can flip a switch and take it to the next level.
Yeah, Apathy shows up for LAN, that's for sure. Now, keep in mind, he also has Sharp on this team as well. Sharp, he's going to be the main objective player. This allows Apathy to be a bit more free on the map. He could roam more, and he could really step it up in the slaying.
Well, now that you guys know the team, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. I'm going to ask Revan a little bit more about his thoughts on the strengths, weaknesses of Team Kaliber. Who's the best player? Who's the guy who needs to step it up if they want X Games Gold? We'll tell you after this.